You're watching South Asia Newsline, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 5th of June. Pakistan-bred viper biting them. Indian delegation tears into Islamabad's narrative of terror victim. Pakistan's Eid livestock market feels the heat of inflation. And US issues full entry ban on 12 countries, including Afghanistan. And now for all the details. As tension continues to simmer between New Delhi and Islamabad, a diplomatic showdown has also unfolded in the US, as Indian and Pakistani delegations are in Washington. As both sides present their narrative, Shashi Tharoor, who leads India's unified political delegation to Washington, on Wednesday teared into Pakistan's claim to portray itself as a victim of terrorism and advocate for peace. We have a report.
A high-stakes diplomatic showdown unfolded in the United States as Indian and Pakistani delegations, led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor and former Pakistani Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, respectively, arrived in Washington to present their contrasting narratives following recent military clashes. While India's multi-party delegations, which have visited almost 30 countries, are underscoring Pakistan's support to cross-border terrorism, the copycat Pakistani delegation led by Bilawal Bhutto is trying to portray itself as a victim of terrorism and advocate for peace. Tearing into this narrative, Indian parliamentarian Tharoor, in an interaction with the media in Washington, invoked former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's remark, "You can't breed vipers in your backyard and expect them to bite only your neighbors." Slamming Islamabad, he said, while Pakistan is getting attacked by Tehrik-i-Taliban, a splinter group of Taliban, it was the Pakistani policies which aided and helped Taliban. This delegation is going around saying they are victims of terrorism, having lost more lives than India. We turn around and say, whose fault is that? Tharoor remarked, urging Pakistan to reflect internally before pleading innocence.
This is why Pakistan is now following in our wake to say we are also victims of terrorism. But if I can quote a former American Secretary of State who famously said, well, you can't breed vipers in your backyard and expect it to bite only your neighbors. That's what the Pakistanis did, sadly. And the result now is that they are being bitten too. I mean, we all know that, for example, the Taliban movement, and in fact, by and large, all these terror organizations were created by the Pakistani military and ISI and so on for specific target purposes. There were some units created to hit India. There were some that were created to take over Afghanistan. They wanted to do damage on both sides, on both of their borders. And ironically, one group has now broken up and started hitting Pakistan. The so-called Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan is an offshoot of a terror movement initially incubated by Pakistan that's turned against its masters.
Meanwhile, India has strongly opposed Asian Development Bank funding for Pakistan, citing concerns over possible misuse of development aid for military purposes and weak economic reforms. Sources told ANI that New Delhi flagged Pakistan's poor fiscal performance, falling tax revenues, and potential diversion of aid from development to defense. India also questioned the effectiveness of past ADB and IMF programs, pointing out that Pakistan is now seeking its 24th IMF bailout, despite years of international support.
Moving on. In Pakistan, the spirit of sacrifice is clashing with economic hardship as livestock prices soar ahead of Eid ul-Adha. From Karachi to Islamabad, many families say they are struggling to afford animals this festive season amid biting inflation. A report.
Pakistan is shopping for sacrificial livestock for the upcoming Eid al-Adha holiday, have been left flustered by rising prices for the animals. Eid al-Adha, of the most important festivals of the Islamic calendar, falls on June 7th. Animals such as cows, goats and camels are slaughtered to commemorate the willingness of the Prophet Ibrahim, or Abraham, to sacrifice his son on God's command, with the meat often distributed to poor afterwards. At the main cattle market in Karachi, Pakistan's biggest city where traders brought cows, bulls and camels adorned with ornaments and hair art, customers said they faced higher prices than previous years.
जानवर की कीमतें इस वक्त आसमान से बोल रही हैं और जो जानवर आप अच्छा लगे आपको जो आप पूछें जो आप सोचे कि मैं शायद 3 लाख में ले लूँ, उस जानवर के 7 लाख, 8 लाख, 10 लाख वो डिमांड कर रहे हैं। और इस वक्त आप देख रहे हैं मंडी में सन्नाटा है, व्यापारी जो है वो हैं बहुत, लेकिन ख़रीदार नहीं हैं।
गंदम महंगी है, ट्रांसपोर्ट महंगी है, टैक्स हैं, मतलब बहुत सारे मसाइल हैं। वे इसमें महंगा तो होगा, ये बात तो जाहिर सी है। और हम भी इंशाल्लाह ऐसा तो नहीं बेचेंगे, इंशाल्लाह नुकसान नहीं करेंगे हम इंशाल्लाह।
In the capital, Islamabad and city of Lahore, goats and sheep were also selling at exorbitant prices. The country's economy is on a fragile path to recovery under a $7 billion IMF program, requiring reforms and policies that resulted in higher power tariffs and taxes. Annual inflation had dipped to 0.3% in April, its lowest in nearly a decade, and a marked fall from 11.8% in May 2024, and a record near 40% a year earlier.
पिछले साल की निस्बत ये 50% महंगा है, कम से कम आधे का फ़र्क है ये। अभी इसने 1.15 मांगा है, मैंने इसे लाख लगा दिया, लेकिन उसने नहीं दिया। इतने का ये अभी जिंदा भी तोल के देना 3,000 रुपये किलो, उतने का नहीं बनता ये।
In a significant policy move, US President Donald Trump has signed a proclamation imposing travel ban for citizens of 12 nations, including Afghanistan. The White House justified the decision by citing the emerging threats to public safety and national security as reason for the travel ban. Apart from Afghanistan, countries like Sudan, Somalia, Myanmar, Libya, and others are in the list. According to the proclamation, the reason for Afghanistan's inclusion is Taliban's control over the country. De facto authority in Afghanistan, the Taliban has no competent or cooperative central authority for issuing passports or civil documents, and it does not have appropriate screening and vetting measures. The restrictions by Trump distinguish between but apply to both the entry of immigrants and non-immigrants.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them. In the 21st century, we've seen one terror attack after another carried out by foreign visa overstayers from dangerous places all over the world.
Moving on. A constitutional bench of Nepal's Supreme Court comprising 5 members has issued an order to initiate criminal investigation against former House Speaker Agni Prasad Sapkota. The bench made the order while hearing over 2005 case of alleged abduction and murder of Arjun Bahadur Lama involving Sapkota during the Maoist insurgency. The court's decision comes after years of halted investigation, raising concerns about judicial delays in cases involving powerful politicians. The apex court mandated that Sapkota be investigated under the criminal justice framework and that the police carry out the probe based on the initial first information report. Sapkota has over the years held multiple key positions such as Minister for Information and Communication in 2011 and Speaker of the House in 2020. Moving on. Bangladesh will soon share a fresh diplomatic note to India addressing the ongoing issue of individuals being pushed across the border. Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tauhid Hussain announced on Wednesday, speaking to reporters. Hussain emphasized through the diplomatic note, Dhaka will urge New Delhi to follow the established consular mechanism to resolve such matters. When pressed on whether the tone of the note would be diplomatic or a formal protest, he remarked, it depends on how it's viewed, indicating flexibility in the language based on the situation's perception. Hussain highlighted that Bangladesh is maintaining regular communication with India through existing diplomatic channels to address the issue. He noted that India has provided a list of individuals it claims are Bangladeshi nationals, some of whom have been accepted by Dhaka after verification of their nationality. However, Bangladesh remains firm that each case will be examined individually and only those with confirmed Bangladeshi citizenship will be accepted. We see that is happening. It's not possible to face physically, Hussain stated, acknowledging the challenge of managing such incidents at the border. He stressed the importance of utilizing established consular mechanism to handle the matter in a structured and lawful manner, saying there's a mechanism on consular issues and using the mechanism, Dhaka is trying to bring it under these set rules. In response to a separate question, the advisor clarified that there has been no progress regarding the deportation of ousted former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, indicating that the issue remains unresolved. Former Maldives President Mohammad Nasheed is reportedly considering to contest the country's 2028 presidential election. According to local news portal Adhadu, Nasheed recently reached out to senior members of the opposition Moldavian Democratic Party, floating the idea of his return to electoral politics. In a message quoted by the outlet, he wrote, "I am considering to run for president. What do you think? Whichever answer you give won't affect our relationship." 50-year-old Nasheed served as Maldives president from 2008 to 2012 and was also the Speaker of the 19th Parliament. Known for strengthening ties with India during his presidency, he currently heads the Climate Vulnerable Forum, a global coalition of climate-threatened nations. Nasheed left the MDP in June 2023 after internal disagreements and joined the Democrats, a new political outfit formed by his supporters. However, it remains unclear whether he will run as an independent or under a party banner. And that's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Till then, good night.